Hey everybody, this is your boy John, and today's episode, we're going to be doing a little something different. It's going to be, a little exciting, a little bit, concerning a little bit, because really, we got concerns, man, and we have some news for you. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, it's your boy John again, and with me is Matt.
What's up, guys?
So on today's episode of the Geeks From The Multiverse podcast, as we just mentioned before, we're going to be talking about some concerns we have with the Hollywood region of the world. Really the movie / TV, video game, whatever you really want to call it. All that shit combined, because man, I'll tell you what, Matt and I agree. Some Hollywood bullshit is happening, and it's just going to continue to happen because guess what? It seems like AI needs to take over and start making some shit happening because, my God, it's like a big pile of shit is growing and growing. It's about to be the size of Mount fucking Everest. Could be taller than that. Who fucking knows, man?
Yeah, you know what? It's like I'm losing faith in the Hollywood machine right now.
And it's pretty fucking sad that you and I have talked about a lot of shit over the last year or so about a lot of what Hollywood directors and literally companies and everything else that have been doing. But now like I said, we've decided that we're going to try this new, it's more of I don't know if we're going to make it a segment maybe down the road, but maybe we'll just make it more of like episodes that we just feel that, we need to talk about, because it's kind of like, if you're, it's kind of like Peter Griffin. He's like, what grinds my gears? It's the same idea, but in this case, we got concerns, man. We got some serious issues we need to talk about today.
Yeah, I mean, there's definite concerns, and it kind of stems from this new DEI initiative that the film industry and television industry is really trying to push, and it's kind of one of those funny things, because when you look at the whole DEI thing, it's really counterintuitive to how they're using it, because the whole thing with DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion, which the equity kind of can go back and forth to equality.
I like that word, even though there's no such thing as equality in this case.
Yeah, I mean, equity, equality, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. So diversity, equity, and inclusion, which it's very confusing when you're looking at those three words, but what is DEI? So it's a framework that promotes fair treatment and full participation for all people, especially those who have been historically discriminated against or underrepresented.
So Matt, does that seem logical in what you just said? Because I feel like we're missing a very key component of what they're trying to basically exclude from this conversation.
I mean, if you're looking at DEI, you're talking diversity, which is diversity is all people. You're looking at all people. I mean, that's literally what diversity is. It's not just like, your ethnic or your different genders or whatever. You're looking at diversity as far as cultures and genders and sexual orientations and whatever. It's diversity. Equality literally just means everyone's equal. And then inclusion means that you're including everybody. So when you're looking at, these, like, yes, especially those who have been historically discriminated against or underrepresented, I think what the film industry has focused on is not the first part of this, but the second half of that.
So what I'm hearing, Matt, is that if you're a white male, in general, regarding this initiative, you, my friend, are totally fucked, because if you're not of any Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Asian, fucking black of some sort, whatever, a fucking Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, whatever you want to call it. If you're any one of those, then you're fine. But if you're fucking, let's say, a white male and that isn't gay, or basically a white straight male, you, my friend, are totally fucked, and you're not even going to be included in this conversation. So basically, myself and Matt are fucked, because that is how this whole story goes. Because basically what not only Disney, I mean, granted, a lot of this, what we're going to be talking about today is really about Disney. There's a lot of other companies, not just Disney, but like everyone else, it seems like, and including the Oscars.
Oh yeah, the Oscars are
doing this whole thing where they're just saying, "Hey, we're going to make it really more inclusive when it comes to, let's say, best motion picture. If you don't meet, we're going to go over them, but if you don't meet certain standards, you're not going to be considered part of the best motion picture category because you don't meet any one of these standards, or blah blah blah, so on and so forth."
Yeah, so. It's really kind of a sad thing when you look at like a lot of these, big franchises like Marvel and Star Wars, even like The Matrix, Lord of the Rings. All of these have established fan bases, right? So these directors, show, creators, the film studios, producers, like they're all using these DEI initiatives to find new fans, which essentially like push away their current fan base. And it's just crazy to me because you already have established fan bases in Marvel and Star Wars and Matrix and Lord of the Rings and, Terminator, Resident Evil, go down the line. They all already have fan bases that are already like hundreds of millions of people, yet they're using this DEI basically as a weapon and saying, no, we need to cater to a brand new audience by including all of these, people or genders or whatever. And honestly, they're making crap. And that's exactly what they're making. I mean, they're just making like really crappy stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant they're making piles of shit that they're basically putting over there, and they're thinking, okay, hey, with the current fan base, maybe we can continue this and seeing how it works. But I find it more interesting that they're going to blame the current fan base.
Oh, yeah.
And say, you guys are a bunch of fucking racists, you bigot, and then, you misogynist little fucks. Like, you don't want to support our ideas.
Right.
Bitch, I'm going to tell you something. Maybe if you made quality shit and maybe you stop using this initiative, wow, maybe we wouldn't be the way we are, apparently, because in your eyes, you think that we don't want to get along with everybody. When you start literally pinpointing different things, so if you're saying like, okay, I was an original, Marvel fan from the beginning. If you're saying that now because you're making these characters that even though I apparently don't have an opinion as a white straight male, that I don't have an opinion anymore, and that basically my opinion sucks and can go out the window, that you're blaming me for not getting along with your ideas of how basically the franchise is going to move forward. Well, I find it interesting because, we've talked about this before, Matt. When you have a fucking guide of all these things that you've had in the past, and all you had to do was just follow suit and follow the guidelines that have been given before you, you wouldn't have a pile of shit that you keep creating that apparently AI needs to do a better job of. And at the end of the day, when I look at it as a whole and you're like blaming the fans, it's funny. It's not just, white straight males. There's different ethnic groups. There's different, genders, different, backgrounds. There's all different kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, we don't blame each other. We actually say, hey, we're Marvel fans, because it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or wherever else. Because if you like Marvel and if I like Marvel, none of that shit matters, because all we care about is the fucking content that you're creating.
Right. Yeah. And, to bring a little, clarity to what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
because people may not know exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's true.
With Star Wars recently, the Acolyte show, which is on its 4th episode, Rotten Tomatoes, currently their audience score is at 14%, which is pretty awful. I think it's like one of the worst in Star Wars history, at least.
Oh, I was going to say of all time, I don't know what's the worst, but it's probably got to be down there.
It's pretty darn low. And the only reason that their critic score is at 85 is because, well, there's a lot of their top critics that are friendly to Disney and Star Wars.
Oh, of course.
So they all gave it, rave reviews. But with their 14%, Amanda, Stenberg and Leslie Headland and Kathleen Kennedy have all basically blamed Star Wars fans for the ratings failure, saying that, the Star Wars fandom is so male dominated and that we basically are bigots, we're misogynist, and the show just wasn't created for us. It wasn't created for the male-dominated Star Wars fan base. It was a show created by
women,
the lesbian, the LGBTQ community. So basically, Amanda Stenberg and Leslie Headland is saying it's a show by us and for us. And if you don't like it, then you're just not a true Star Wars fan.
And see, what I find interesting about what you just said is that what I just said before, that when you start saying that it has to be, when you're pinpointing that particular, cultural thing, whether you're talking about the gender or the sexual orientation or the race or whatever the fuck it is that you want to talk about, then you're basically just saying, hey, this is us. Go fuck yourselves. Like this is really just for me and you and nobody else. And you just get out of my fucking face. And it's like, listen, when you make, when you've had these fan bases for years, yes, you're right. You're absolutely fucking right. I'm not saying that, oh wait, Matt, what's funny about this, right? Because when we talk about geeks in general, right? Yes, you're right. It has been a lot of males. You're absolutely fucking right. But did we ever mention that it was not only just males? That we've mentioned that there's females. There's definitely people that have had, different races, different fucking, gender orientation, like all this other shit. Like, I don't care about that shit. That's the thing. We don't care about where you come from in that sense and whatever you believe in. That's not what we care about. What we care about is the shit that we either watch, that we play, that we, listen, read, whatever the fuck it is that we're doing as a hobby or, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's because we're here, we're united as a whole because we love whatever that, this fan base is a part of, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Marvel, a fucking video game franchise, whatever the hell it is, right? Because we have that commonality because of that, because we're expressing our feelings about these particular topics. But that doesn't mean that we're like, oh, well, fuck you. Oh, okay, you fucking, racist prick over here because I guess you just don't like me because I'm, from the Middle East. Now, actually, I never said anything about that. I don't know why you're even bringing it up right now, but Thank you for mentioning it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
I don't even care if you're a freaking lesbian, but you know what? Like you push and, outside of like the DEI content, or you can call it woke, you can call it whatever the hell you want to call it. Outside of like all of that bullshit, and I'll call it bullshit because that's what it is when you really sit down and focus 100% of your efforts on it. The reason why the fans hate this show is not 100% because of all this DEI nonsense that they're trying to put in it. The show just sucks. Well, I'm just putting it out there. Like, the acting is like a high school theater play.
Right, and when you've already like Matt just I haven't even watched the show because I already know how bad it is.
I stopped at episode 3. It just sucks.
No, but you told me literally more about the show, and I literally was listening, and I saw some clips, of course, from you.
I showed you that clip of the witches, like power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
You're like, whatever. Like, and then again, this last episode that just came out, like you were just describing to me, and I'm like,
45 minutes of basically nothing happening in the episode.
And I'm just sitting there like...
There hasn't been one singular lightsaber fight in the whole show. And the show's half over.
Right, but the thing that I don't understand is like, really the story doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't even matter like how much of a... like the characters or whatever. If you can't even tell a fucking story through even like trying to make a show out of this... how are you even, why are you on this fucking show? Like, why are you creating this shit? You might as well just fucking say, you know what, we're done. We're canceling right now. We're done. Like, literally, don't even make the rest of the shit or don't even release it. Never release it ever again. Literally put that on the back shelf and blow it up. Fucking get rid of the copies. Like, don't ever think that you're going to make another show. Please, for the love of God, if you're anybody right now trying to listen to this podcast and maybe, you know, hopefully now trying to watch the show, this would be the time if anybody wants to do something, fucking boycott, man. I'd boycott the shit out of the show on so many levels.
Yeah, I mean, I will still forever be a Star Wars fan, but it's very, very hard to really look at anything that Star Wars, you know, is going to put out beyond the Acolyte and really sit there and say like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. Like Mandalorian season 4, I am not looking forward to it. Any of the movies that they have coming out, again, not looking forward to it.
I mean, and just to kind of like, we'll say a little flip side here, but like, you know, when you and I talked about the whole like Deadpool Wolverine thing going on here, you know, it's funny to me that how Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and the girl X-23 all basically stated that they basically, like you said, they stood up and they stated that if you think that you're going to make another, you know, basically remake of the movie we're just now creating, and
yeah, well, they weren't trying to remake it; they were trying to do reshoots.
Well, reshoots, but if they were planning on making another film without really him, meaning Ryan Reynolds and so forth,
they're planning because the whole thing with Deadpool and Wolverine is, you know, Marvel and Disney is not looking at this movie as being the official Deadpool 3.
Which I think is fucking stupid because, like, then why would you ever make another fucking movie at this point? Because what's the fucking point of it?
This is kind of like a separate entity of the Deadpool movie series. So they're still planning on making it Deadpool 3, but their whole plan was to add more of the DEI into the Deadpool series, as well as adding more, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. So Ryan Reynolds, when you think of Deadpool, he's the one that's really like executive producer and doing a lot of like the creative control of Deadpool. And they're trying to inject a lot of this DEI into the movie. And he is pushing back against Disney and saying, no, this is my movie and I want to tell it a certain way. And that's where like him and Hugh Jackman both stood up and said, listen, you have us signed on to do 5 different Marvel projects. And if you continue this route that you're going on, we're going to step away from all of those projects.
And I mean, and that's saying a lot because you're looking at 2 actors that have been in the movie business for a long time now. They've done a lot of movies. They've done all this stuff, you know, and I mean, it's funny because now you look at Fox and it's like, you know, I kind of wish now that maybe they didn't buy fucking Fox and they would have just left fucking Fox alone and said, fuck it, why don't you just make the goddamn Deadpool series and just made it separate? But, and that's the thing where, like, we're talking about Star Wars and now Marvel, it's like, you know, besides this movie and a few other things, I mean, we were actually kind of joking around here, but we were looking at, like, the new Fantastic Four movie, you know, so with the fact that Silver Surfer is now a female, which we've now already established, you know.
Which, yes, you know, she is in the comics.
Right.
And I understand that, but this is the very first time that we're going to see the Fantastic Four. So why wouldn't you introduce the actual Silver Surfer and not the Silver Surfer's lover that wasn't the initial Silver Surfer.
Right. And then not only that, but then now if we're talking about the initiative of the
DEI.
Sorry, DEI, right? So if you're talking about that initiative, so that means, okay, so Pedro Pascal, yes, he's Hispanic. Great. Okay, cool. We already hit one of them. But does that mean now that the characters that you have, does that mean like Johnny Storm is now gay? Or it'll
be Thing.
Or Thing, right? Or somebody like that, So, or something else. Like, does that mean that they now have to be that way because if you're now putting this initiative in there? Or do they need to add more characters that they can randomly make fucking bullshit up and they just say, hey, well, this person's a part of the new MCU. And you're like, well, where did this character come from? Oh, we just made it on the fly. His name's Black Thing or something like that. And you're like, wait, Black Thing? Black Thing? You're like, what?
I'm Black Thing, baby.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm just making shit up. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if they just randomly throw shit in there like that? And you're like, what does this have to do with the story? Like, what is Black Thing or whatever this thing is? Like, what does this have to do with the story?
I'm Black Thing, baby.
What is it?
Who the hell are you?
Black Thing, baby.
I'm Black Thing.
Where you come from? The black hole over there. Never mind. We're going down a deep path we don't need to go down right now.
Yeah, we're going down a weird area, man.
No, but like, guys, what I'm saying is that, when you look at like the Marvel, Star Wars, whatever, hell, even fucking Matrix, with the fact that, Trinity is now supposedly the strongest, person around and Neo's just fucking a pussy, sitting in the corner like, okay, you just do whatever you want to do, and fuck it, who cares? It's like, no, man, you look at the fucking trilogy movies and you look at how Neo was basically the chosen one in a sense. And now he's just on the sidelines like, okay, well, I guess you got it. It's cool. And like, yeah. Well, again, it's just, and
he just doesn't want to make his woman mad. You know what I mean? Like, he's just hey, whatever you want to do, baby.
Okay. When you talk about John Wick, he's not a pussy. All right. He's fucking in the action. But now this guy, come on. What is this shit?
They made him into a pussy in that movie.
Clearly, I guess he's just not John Wick anymore.
But this is the whole thing that we're talking about. I mean, it's like you have a fan base that wants content, is starving for content, but yet you keep putting this like weird, DEI content in there, and then all of a sudden. And it's not even that DEI is that bad. It's literally diversity, equity, and inclusion. The equity is equality, diversity, equality, and inclusion, which immediately would tell me that the first line of this phrasing is what is most important, but it's especially those who have been historically discriminated against or underrepresented. So yes. Historically discriminated against or underrepresented, you put them in there, but it's fair treatment and full participation for all people. It's not just those who have been discriminated against. It's not just those who are underrepresented. It's all people, whether they're Black, Hispanic, Asian, or white people. Straight, gay, lesbian, it should all be the same. That's the part of inclusion, people.
Well, I mean,
we've been saying this many episodes.
I know we said it. No, I know inclusion, right? But then, I don't like talking about politics and shit, but it's like when you have certain organizations that literally focus on one group. I'm not mentioning the name because I'm not trying to get into political debates here, but like, when you start looking at that and you're like, oh, well, we're trying to make it so that way everyone's included in a sense. And it's like,
are they though?
Are they really? Because basically what I just said about the DEI initiative, like literally you're talking about a white straight male, which is basically the category both Matt and I fit in. You're basically saying, okay, fuck you guys, we're done. And I'm like, what did I do to make you that fucking upset? Are you just blaming every white straight male on the planet because we're just not fitting into these groups that you want everyone else to be in? And I'm like, I don't care. No offense about what you look like, where you come from, your fucking race, your gender, your sexual orientation, your age. I mean, I only make fun of Matt because, we're buddies, but we're buddies. Come on, we play jokes, but like, my point is I don't care about where all that shit, because at the end of the day is like, if I'm your friend, or if I'm like somebody that I'm joking around with or whatever, I don't look at that shit, man. At the end of the day, I'm like, he's my buddy, man. He's my bro. He's this and that, because we get along and we do all this. But like when you start saying, hey, well, you need to be fucking Middle Eastern descent, who's apparently bi and needs to, I don't know, fucking believe in this shit, or what I like believe in, fucking flying purple eating monsters or whatever fucking shit. I don't know. I'm just making shit up here. But if I had to be all that, why is that? Why do I have to be all that if I can't just be me? Or why can't we can't just get along in a sense?
But it's like, it's just crazy, because where does the DEI end?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
If you're just focusing on that last part, I mean, where does it end? Do we start having, furries in there where they're wearing tails and that those weird, they're not even like latex. They're like kind of the plastic dog mask. I'm talking about like the plastic dog masks with the tail, and or they wear. You see them in Comic Cons where they're wearing the big furry animal heads.
No, I mean,
have you seen them in like?
I haven't seen them in real life, but I've seen them on like videos and stuff.
Last year when I went to the Granite State Comic Con, the wife and I saw a few of people that were, they have the tail and the furry arm thing.
My question is, does it actually move, or is it just there just to be there in a sense?
I think it's just there.
Okay, I was just curious if they had.
I really didn't go up to their ass to look at the tail.
I wouldn't be like, "Hey, let me sniff your ass real quick." Like, I wouldn't be that weird. I was just asking in general, but
they, they're actually wearing like a full like furry animal head.
So literally, like if you're, what the hell is that called? God damn it! It's a hobby, but basically, like if you like take a dead animal and you're like stuffing it,
taxidermy.
Sorry, I couldn't remember the word off the top of my head, but like taking it, like literally, if like you said, hey, we're going to cut off like this.
Well, I mean, they're more cartoony looking.
Oh, okay, it's not like an actual
they're not like real animal like looking. They're more like anime or like cartoony looking like heads, but they're definitely like animal. But but it's like, where does it end at that point?
I keep telling you, man. I mean,
if we're talking about DEI, we're talking about, historically discriminated against or underrepresented.
Well, hold on. So it's funny when you mention historically discriminated against. When we talk about history, this is where I know you and I have agreed on this. How far back in history are we talking?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, according to my 23andMe, a good portion of my DNA comes from England, and if I'm not mistaken, there was a group of people that invaded England,
known as
fucking Vikings, right?
Yeah,
and they killed a lot of my ancestors.
Okay, and then it's funny is, I mean, granted,
I don't get sympathy for that.
No, I was going to say maybe I should do 23. I definitely need to do 23andMe, but I know probably a majority of it's probably Ireland or Irish and Italian. Which, what's funny is that Irish were also slaves, and Italians really, actually, it was Sicilian is really what it is. Those guys were also slaves as well. So, but again, I'm also not mentioning the fact that I need any sympathy or empathy. Actually, I'm not ever going to say empathy, but I would say sympathy in this case. But like, we don't care is what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to say that as I'm intensifying that, because at the end of the day, it's like literally everyone on this planet, or let me rephrase that, every civilization, tribe, whatever you want to call it, in some way, shape, or form, I guarantee you, at some point of their history, have either enslaved their own people or they've enslaved other people of some sorts. So my point is, at the end of the day, at some point, I guarantee you, everyone's ancestors were probably slaves at one point or another. And it didn't matter apart when it comes to history, because, our history textbooks basically lie to us, because we don't get told the whole entire history of literally the world most of the time. We only get told what we're supposed to know. and not the true history of what actually the world is.
We actually gave an example of this when we did our Thanksgiving episode when we talked about the Native Americans.
Correct.
But yeah, I mean, when we really talk about this, like this whole DEI thing, like it's been taken way too far where, yes, we are picking on Disney because Disney's right now in the limelight, and most notably because of, I'll say it, the shitty Acolyte show and how bad it's doing. I mean, it's literally opened the doors to what Disney's doing. And, they're taking this like diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they've almost 100% replaced their like creative leadership, their upper management with the, ethnic, underrepresented and discriminated against, community of people. And that's what they've been focused on 100%. So when you're looking at Marvel, that's why we have bullshit like the Marvels or the Eternals. Or should I continue? I mean,
I could let you continue, but I know that it would take fucking years. No, I'm just kidding. No, it is sad when, you start to look at how, these franchises have, like I said, over the years have created these fan bases, have created such great content. And then when you have people in charge that apparently want to make it their own and they feel the need to only justify the people that they feel that are not or let me rephrase that. Underrepresented
yes.
In this case, yes. And that are the ones that are undeserving of the treatment, in a sense. It's sad when you have to literally say, we feel this way because we only care about these individuals, but everyone else go get fucked, because you're not looking at it as a fan. You're not looking at, you're just saying,
yeah,
you people, and that's it. And this is what I call,
you're just looking at this in your, racist bigot eyes, and you're not really looking at what we're trying to do here.
Right. And not as a literally loyal fan that you've had for years.
We literally can see through what you're doing.
No, we see through the bullshit, and the bullshit tells us that at this point, both Matt and I agree, when it comes to these franchises and everywhere else, and it's not even just Disney. I mean, there's other ones too. I guarantee you DC, which we did talk about too a while back, that fact that Blue Beetle is the only fucking character right now, and it has to be an Hispanic and not a white dude, whether it was Batman or Superman, who really created the fucking Justice League, but that's a whole nother game.
Hey.
But I'm just saying, like, you look at that shit too, and you throw that on a fucking platter, it's like, you're all doing it. Like, you're just literally, whatever society is telling you, you're just like, fuck it, we're just going to do it because that is what we believe the society is telling us. I honestly want to know where they're getting their information from. Or at least I would say, like, who is the one that is feeding the bullshit? Like, I want to know who that person is, because I'd love to go up to you and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, you want to talk about a movement? Cut the bullshit and shut the fuck up. Like, and I am saying that politely here, because this shit has got to stop, because at the end of the goddamn day, it's stupid.
It needs to, like, we've been saying it, like, it's almost like I want to hit my freaking head against this wall, because it's so freaking, like, it makes me so angry that we have to keep saying it, because it's not about inclusion. It's not about diversity, and it's not about equity. It's about exclusion. And whatever the opposite of the other two are. Like, it's just about exclusion and segregation. That's 100% what it is. And you ask yourself, well, why are they doing this?
I'd love to know why, man. Why do you think they're doing this?
Well, I can tell you right now, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which is where we get the Oscars from. Well, they, created a task force, and they actually call it a task force.
I fucking hate that word, Matt.
You know what? I
I really do.
Everybody wants a task force nowadays. I want my own task force. That'd be great. But they basically say, like, this year, in a long overdue response to the glaring disparity, the
glaring
disparity in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced its Academy Aperture 2025 initiative, stating to encourage equitable hiring practices and ensure more diverse representation on and off the screen, the Academy, in collaboration with the Producers Guild of America, will create a task force of industry leaders to develop and implement new representation and inclusion standards for Oscars eligibility.
So, Matt, what does this eligibility look like? Because I know you and I were talking about it, and we both agree that whatever he's about to say is probably the most dumbest thing you could probably hear, because basically whoever creates any movie from here on out, basically you better have these standards, or guess what? If you ever think about getting a best motion picture, you're done fucked up, because you're not going to get one.
So yeah, there are 4 standards for a film to be deemed eligible for Best Picture. These are outside of the normal eligibility requirements, which would be like, they have to make a certain amount of money. They have to be within a certain time for, like, outside of all of those normal requirements. These are, I would say, extra considerations to be eligible for Best Picture. If they don't meet 2 of the 4 of these, they're not eligible.
So what I find interesting is the fact that they have to already meet the normal criteria and then have to meet extra criteria. And if they don't meet this extra criteria, it doesn't matter how much you fucking did, you're done fucked up and you're not getting it.
All right, so let me go through all of the parts in Standard A, and then we'll comment.
Oh, yes, I can't wait.
So Standard A is on-screen representation, themes, and narratives. And this comes directly from the Oscars website. So I am not making any of this up. It comes directly from their website. A film can achieve the standard by meeting the criteria in at least one of the following areas. A1, lead or significant supporting actors from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. At least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors is from an underrepresented ethnic or racial group in a specific country or territory of production. This may include African American, Black, African, or Caribbean descent, East Asian, Hispanic or Latino, Indigenous peoples, Middle Eastern, North African, Pacific Islander, South Asian, Southeast Asian. A2, general ensemble cast. At least 30% of all actors in secondary and more minor roles are from at least 2 underrepresented groups, which may include women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ+, and people with cognitive disabilities or who are deaf or hard of hearing. A3, which is the last group, main storyline / subject matter. The main storylines, themes, or narrative of the film is centered on the underrepresented groups. Women, racial, ethnic group, LGBTQ, or people with cognitive or physical disabilities or who are deaf or hard of hearing. So that's the 3 categories in Standard A, which they have to meet at least one. So in A1, they have to do at least 1 or 30% or the main storyline is basically what it's saying.
Oh, do you want me to comment, or do you want me to wait until you finish the other part?
No, we can comment on Standard A.
Oh, okay. So this one...
So yeah, it is like one of the following areas. So it has to at least be one of the lead actors in that A1, or they do the 30% in A2, or the main storyline in A3. So it's either one of the 3 of those.
So again, the first part, right? If you don't have somebody that basically is misrepresented in a sense, it doesn't matter what category in the first one. So you need to have at least somebody. So in this case, if you were, let's see, Asian, female, transgender, maybe who was maybe hard of hearing. You'd fit all that. No problem. You're good to go. Okay, you're amazing. The second part of that little piece of it. Well, what was the basically synopsis again of that second part there?
The general ensemble cast.
Oh, right. So like the fact that they need to basically, as long as somebody.
That was 30% of all actors.
Right. So as long as somebody maybe, or let's say
secondary and more minor roles.
Okay. So like if supporting actors in a sense, supporting the main actor or whoever, right? So let's say, I don't know, they all have to be Asian in this case. And
they have to be from two underrepresented. So they can't just be women. They have to be either ethnic women or LGBTQ women or an ethnic group that's LGBTQ or somebody who's deaf and LGBT. You know what I mean? Like, so there has to be two of those categories.
Oh, sorry,
so it has to be 30%.
No, hold my bad. So instead of Asian, let's do Middle Eastern. No, this is what would get me is Middle Eastern lesbians, which technically in the culture of Middle East religion and stuff, that would never. I'm going to say this: that would never happen because there would be. I'm telling you, culturally speaking, that would never happen because they will never allow it to happen. They pretty much kill that person. Is more likely what would happen. And I'm just being brutally honest here, but again, so you got that part, and then the last part. Saying that you need to have
the main storyline.
The main storyline basically focusing.
Or the theme. It doesn't even have to be the storyline. It could be the whole theme of the show or the movie. Not the show, but the whole movie itself.
I got you. How about let's just go back to was it the 50s or 60s? It might have been, my bad. It was like 40s. Let's just do the Japanese internment camps. Fuck it. There you go. Something like that. I'm just going to throw something random out there. I'm only saying that because that's misrepresented all the time. And I'm pretty sure they don't have a show or a movie based on that.
Right.
We're just throwing it out there.
I think right now when you look at most movies now, when, you really have, I think like A3 and A1 where it's, you'll have like a Hispanic or maybe African American and the storyline is really centered on, the theme of women or, an ethnic group or,
No, right. I was just saying, I think that my, kind of thought was of that story was just more like, it's kind of more of a general term, but yes, like if you had let's say, prime example, let's say it was a Mexican family who were jumping the border and they did it because the wife or the whomever the woman was jumping over because they wanted to have a better life and they were pregnant and were trying to give birth or whatever and they wanted to go over, but then it's actually it was a transgender, or I don't know, something. Just throw it all out there and just make it all up as you go because, we don't want to have the story make sense at all. Something like that and just make it the most unrealistic expectation. But my point is if you don't meet any of those categories, you're nothing fucked up because you're not getting the best motion picture.
Yeah, you're not getting best picture. And that's just
one.
That's just the first standard. So standard B is your creative leadership and project team. So a film can achieve this standard by meeting the criteria in at least one of the following areas.
This is good too.
Creative leadership and department heads. At least two of the following creative leadership position and department heads. So this is your
directors,
your casting director, cinematographer, composer, costume designer, director, editor, hairstylist, makeup artist, producer, production designer, set decorator, sound, VFX supervisor, and writer are from an underrepresented group, and at least one of those positions must belong to someone from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group.
I think that standard might be probably the easiest to maintain, or at least to have, only because you could have any one of those be filled with any one of those other standards.
Right. I mean, I think like you could, because I mean, what makes it difficult with this one, and it's very tricky in the wording, is like they have to be from an underrepresented group and belong to someone from an underrepresented ethnic or racial group. It's not like they just one or the other. They have to be both. So you can't just have the person be a woman or someone that's a gay woman or gay, you know, whatever. It has to be somebody who's, you know, the underrepresented groups are women, racial, ethnic group, LGBTQ, and the cognitive disabilities. The racial groups are the same: African American, Black, East Asian, that whole list that I read before.
Yeah,
Hispanic, indigenous peoples, Middle Eastern, North African, Island, Pacificer.
Sorry, that was a good one. I haven't heard something like that.
Pacific Islander.
Yes, Pacificer.
South Asian and Southeast Asian. So it has to be like, you know, maybe an African American woman or a Hispanic woman, or, you know, maybe it's a
Hispanic deaf woman.
It doesn't even have to be a woman. It could be a man, you know, it could be a Hispanic guy who's gay.
Or hard of hearing, or
right,
or blind, or yeah. No, I mean, I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's just
they have to be from both categories, and it has to be at least two. So, I mean, you could easily do this with your hairstylist and makeup artist, maybe your production designer. This one is a little bit easier.
I would say that one's probably a little bit easier than most of your actors and actresses playing the roles sometimes.
This is kind of where it gets tricky, though. This is where it gets tricky, John. B2 is other key roles. At least 6 other crew or team and technical positions, excluding production assistants, are from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. These positions include, but are not limited to, first AD, gaffer, script supervisor, etc. 6.
I love how it's supposed to be 6. There's not like, it couldn't be like 2 or 3, you know, it had to be the number 6. You know, Matt, I'm just going to say it. And I know this is somewhat religious, but what's the number 6 seems a little demonic, in my opinion. So it's very odd that they chose the number 6. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. It's like they couldn't pick it any other number.
I mean, granted, I do know that when you're talking about films, especially, you know, you're talking, you know, Marvel films or Star Wars films or, you know, whatever, like there's a lot of people involved.
No, I get that, but it just seems weird to me that it had to be that number. It couldn't have been like fucking 4, lower than that, 2, 3, whatever. But like, it's like, yep, 6 is it. That's it. If you don't meet 6, then you're done.
6 people is a lot. I mean, especially trying to find people from
all of that fucking background,
an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. You know, the one question that I have, and, you know, I'll get to the last little, because there's a third section here. Are we really just focused on finding these underrepresented? Or are we trying to find the best person for the damn job?
I mean, at this point, I would be like, find the best damn person to get the goddamn job done. Because at this point, it's like, we've already mentioned it. Like,
it just sounds like we're trying to realistically just fill these spots with people that may not be doing the best job, but just so that we can get this stupid award.
And that's the thing. I already told you. We already mentioned this actually earlier today. It's funny. We could literally make a dog shitting on the side of the road. And as long as I had 6 people, apparently, that had those different representations, that film could be best motion picture, and it could basically probably do shit at the box office, and it could probably still win the damn best motion picture award. I mean,
you could just make an argument that the dog is a lesbian female. I mean,
Yeah, right. Because I forgot, dogs, they have that kind of representation for themselves, right? Yeah.
depending on what the dog species is, it could be an underrepresented group,
Yeah, could you describe to me what an underrepresented?
It literally could hit every single category.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I've just never heard of that in a dog before. But I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, if that's how they're going to play it. But
all right. So the third category in the standard B is overall crew composition. So at least 30% of the film's
30.
crew.
Why not like a third of the crew, not like 30? Like, you know what I mean? Because like
30%, or yes, a third of the film's crew is from at least two underrepresented groups.
that two.
So two. So they have to be, ethnic women, lesbian, gay, lesbian women, ethnic, LGBTQ, or have some kind of a disability and be ethnic, or be LGBTQ and have a disability, or be a woman and have a disability. They have to have two of those.
I'm just going to say, man, I don't think I've actually seen
30%. I mean,
no. I mean, right. But it's going to sound weird. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I've honestly never seen like a blind lesbian chick or like a deaf gay man, or maybe they're. I mean, again, I'm just assuming. I don't see too many of those personally in my own life. But like, I mean, I guess whatever. Again, still 30% or 33% of this whole thing. That's odd. It's like it has to be oddly specific, or Pacificer. I mean, sorry, Pacificer. In this situation, because I'm like.
But again, you only have to meet one of the three categories. You don't have to meet all three. You just have to meet one of the categories. So even if you got like B1, you would still meet that category.
So, and this is like, and I'm just going to mention now both of the categories you both mentioned. It's crazy to me that basically if you don't have any actors or actresses that even meet any of these categories, maybe as long as you have a good, crew or cast or whatever, or like the production crew in a sense, if one of them at least meets the criteria or whatever, then I guess you're fine. But it's like, it is so damn technical. Like literally 30%, 6 people. Like, where the fuck do you come up with these numbers, man? Like, that is oddly weird and specific, because you don't just randomly make this shit. We need 6 exact people that fit any one of these categories, and they have to be a certain way, a certain thing, a certain whatever. And I'm like, dude, can you just base it on the fact that the movie's great? It has a great story. It has all this shit. But if, again, they have all that shit, and then if they don't mean any of this shit, it's like, what? This is my fucking point. It's like, if a fucking movie about Lassie, or like a remake of it or whatever, and you're telling me if I don't have a lesbian woman who is Hispanic, who is a gay lover or whatever, and is hard of hearing.
I keep telling you, you can make Lassie a lesbian. That would be fine. She will make the category fit for Best Picture.
Look, I'm just saying, to me, it's like, okay, and you're going to
the argument, this dog is a lesbian. I can't explain it. It just happened.
Right, because I forgot. We could just make whatever bullshit we want to believe. I remember that.
Hey, I mean, they're making this bullshit up, so that...
there you go, man. At least you're admitting that. So.
That's completely plausible. So, all right, standard C.
Oh my God, I don't remember standard C. I remember only the first 2.
Oh, there's 4 altogether. I said that.
You didn't tell me about the other 2.
So standard C is industry access and opportunities.
What the
There's two. There's two. Actually, only 2 in this one, which is
God.
So paid apprenticeship and internship opportunities.
Hold on a second. You're telling me the interns that are participating in this movie or whatever, they have to basically meet those fucking standards?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. So, you've got to be shitting me, but okay.
So the film distribution or financing company has paid apprenticeships or internships that are from the following underrepresented groups.
God, you don't
satisfy the criteria below, and it's the women,
same shit. Okay.
Yeah, women, racial, ethnic group, LGBTQ, physical disabilities, hard of hearing.
Okay.
It says major studios distributors are required to have substantive ongoing paid apprenticeships and internships, inclusive of underrepresented groups.
Oh my God.
Must also include racial or ethnic groups.
Oh my God.
In most of the following departments: production/development, physical production, post-production, music, VFX, acquisitions, business affairs, distribution, marketing, and publicity.
Oh my God.
The mini, major, or independent studios distributors must have a minimum of 2, and this is it's underlined, 2 apprentices/interns from the above, and it's kind of the same thing. So it's basically the whole fucking production
Oh my God.
of the film. They have to have these interns/apprentices be from these groups.
Oh my God. I really can't. The fact that they have this damn standard, it's like.
So C2, training opportunities and skills development crew. The film's production and or financing company offers training and or work opportunities for the below the line skill development to people with the following underrepresented
Please
groups.
tell me. No, I'm good. I've heard it enough. I'm good on that one. So was that the second standard?
That was the second standard, yes.
Okay. And what is the last C4 looking? Is it like 5 fucking standards that they're trying to find? Or is it like, I'm hoping just one, maybe?
This is, it looks like just one, but this one is audience development.
What the fuck? Let me guess. They get random people to just be like, well, we need people who are from these different.
Representation in development, marketing, publicity, and distribution.
Oh my God.
The studio and or film company has multiple, more than one, in-house senior executives belonging to
My God.
at least. So listen to this. The studio and or film company
Great.
has multiple, more than one in-house senior executives belonging to at least 2 underrepresented groups on their creative and development, marketing, publicity, and or distribution teams. At least one individual must belong to an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. And they're the same 2 categories of groups. I'm not going to read them again.
Thank God, because there's too many.
So we're talking about in-house senior executives from creative and development, marketing, publicity, and distribution. Senior executives.
All I got to say is whoever created this bullshit, they need to have a fucking life. And I swear, you literally, I feel like you're just making up bullshit. I've never heard of, for at least apparently to get the, best motion picture for an Oscar. If you're telling me you now have to look at your senior executive, vice president, whatever the fuck you are, if you're looking at these senior executives and then you're now looking at, a paid internship, and now you're looking at, your fucking production team and your directors and your screenwriters and your whatever, and then you're looking at I'm like, holy shit. Like you're talking.
So, I mean, my one question with all of this crap, right? Even, you have your senior executives, you have your film crew, you have your hairstylist and all those other, leadership positions and department heads. We're talking about legitimate jobs, right? Like we're talking about people that like they work for a studio, they have a legitimate job, and you're telling me that if a studio is doing a movie let's say they're doing a movie on this guy over here, Hank.
Oh, Hank. Okay. Hey, nice to meet you, Hank.
They're doing a movie on Hank, and they're like, we really want to be in the running for Best Picture this year, the year that it comes out. So you're telling me that none of this violates any kind of hiring or labor law?
Very much so. Because you're
telling me like a film studio or production studio or whatever will not hire somebody for this film because they are not from an underrepresented group, simply because if they do, they will not win an Oscar for Best Picture.
I'm going to say this, Matt. I really hope the Department of Labor, what is it? Department of Education and Labor? Does that sound about right?
I don't even think it's that like
no. But
this is a fucking Congress. Like
no. That's what okay, but that's my point. If like they're talking about labor laws, this is a labor law that would literally just mentioning. If these guys think that they're going to actually make this a reality in this sense, I really hope that Congress is going to fight back and be like, let's take a look at this initiative that you apparently wanted to make up all of a fucking sudden. It's like you're telling me. I was like, go ahead, please go against Congress. Please go against the United States Supreme Court. Let's go even further than that. Let's go into legislation and all this other shit. So you're telling me that this initiative is somehow, if I will say this, if Congress and legislation, whatever, whoever's going to look at this shit, will say this really, let me try that again. The Supreme Court, if they agree with this shit, I was like, then you want to talk about unconstitutional. I was like, this is some bullshit. I'm like, this whole thing is
basically you're what? I mean, you're talking you're Irish, you're British, white American people, anybody.
Well, really, I would say European, whatever fucking descent and so on and so forth, that basically are white people in a sense, because or Caucasian is really the best term to use. But yeah,
anybody that has like Caucasian skin. I mean, you could make that case for, our true French people from France underrepresented. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, they do have French films. I mean, there's, as we. No, actually, hold on, Matt. Didn't we looked up something on Tubi? What was it? It was like French horror or like, I don't know. It was something, no, it was Italian. That's what it was. Never mind. I thought it was French. My bad. It was the Italian horror.
Oh yeah,
it was whatever
Italian horror. Like it was a category, right?
Yeah. It was weird, but anyways, I know it was kind of random, but yeah,
it was weird. But yeah, I mean, basically, if you're in that creative leadership category where you're like, maybe you're an editor or a makeup artist or a producer or a production designer or any one of those categories, and you're basically white or a male. And you're not part of the LGBTQ community, and you have no disabilities. If there's a film that they're trying to go for Best Picture, which I'm assuming most films being made today are going for Best Picture,
you would think
you are not going to get a job.
Pretty much in the film industry, yep, you were pretty much screwed. So if your hope and goals are, I'm going to go, be a director one day in the film industry or be a screenwriter or any of these things that revolve like film industry in general, unless you have a ethnic background or you identify yourself as a certain gender or fucking whatever the fuck we've just talked about, then again, if you're basically white and not part of the misrepresented fucking group of people, good luck. I'd be like, good luck, because pretty much you're out of a job, and you're basically your only options are McDonald's, my friend, or basically anything else that has nothing to do with the film industry, which basically is, in my opinion, if again, it shouldn't even, it shouldn't even matter. I mean, shit. I mean, how many, I'm going to say it like, and it's kind of random, but like, when we look at mental health, right, or like the field of mental health, it's a very female-driven, profession. I'm not saying males don't do it, as like being therapists and whatnot, but it's like, we're not judging like, oh, I need to be, a black, bisexual, whatever, and so on and so forth, to basically become like a mental health counselor. No, nothing of that matters. It's just basically, do you have the drive to do it? It's not like, but that's the thing with this film industry. It's like, so white, you're done. Like, that's it.
It's really the question of like, if you're really looking at this, and are these studios violating labor laws
110%
by not, by just only choosing like these ethnic groups and excluding really anybody outside of these underrepresented groups. And my only answer to that is, yeah, on some level, probably I know for sure it's happening with Disney.
Well, right. Disney, you got to look at now, we're talking like DC, we're talking,
it's probably happening across the board, and
probably in most companies now because of this whole shit going on. It's not even just, yes, we're looking at like Disney and Warner Brothers, whatever. The big companies in that sense, but
this is where we're at. This is exactly like they're pushing the DEI stuff so far that now this is a requirement for Best Picture, and this is what film studios are doing. Like, if we want to be in the running for Best Picture, this is what we have to do now. So we need to bring people in who are going to execute this plan. And, we
pray to God that it actually does well.
And it's not, I'm sure maybe some of the stuff that Marvel is doing and some of the stuff that, maybe DC is going to do
probably
is all right. But this is the whole purpose of the episode. We have serious concerns about the film industry, about what they're doing with television shows.
And then, right, and movies in general.
I have no faith in this Hollywood machine that they're going to produce any quality films or TV shows without being able to tell like a great story with great characters, without trying to push this like hidden message or agenda.
Matt, I think this is what we need to do. I think you and I need to go on, chat GPT, see if there's a way so that we can, make it sound like we're a black.
I know exactly what we need to do.
No. Hold on. So imagine this. If I can tell chat GPT to make me a script as a black transgender, deaf I'm just deaf and,
I'm black thing, baby.
Black thing, baby. Just like make it all that and just be like, hey, just make me a script because I am this right here. And maybe I could get somewhere as long as I keep up with the persona of, me being represented as those like individual things.
No, I know exactly what we need to do.
Then what? What do we need to do, Matt? Tell me.
We need fucking Skynet.
Oh, right. You mean the thing that we've been talking about a long time ago? Yeah. So yes, we just need Skynet to become a thing. And
we need Skynet to become a thing, and maybe just end it all. Just
just fucking done, baby.
Just nuke the planet, bring the Terminators in, and let's start this war now.
Let's start it now.
We won't have to worry. We won't have to worry about movies because
we're worried about
for our lives. We won't have to worry about that shit.
You want to talk about? Look, I can tell you 3 things that would actually unite this planet as a whole. Ready? If there was a zombie and basically apocalypse, right? An alien invasion, or in this case, if robots took over, that would be the only 3 things that I would say this planet would actually come together as one, because guess what? We're all worried about our damn survival.
I am game for either one of the 3, but I would vote for Skynet. And, just we wouldn't have to worry about movies because there would be none made. Actually, it's funny because we just watched Idiocracy the other day.
Oh God, yep.
And the most popular movie in that movie that everybody went to go see was literally just a movie of someone's ass. Like they just went to see a movie and it was just somebody's ass.
Be like, hey, you like butt stuff?
When they show, like, it wasn't, I mean, the narration of it was like, it didn't do anything. For over an hour, this movie was just some dude's ass. And these people were like in the theater, like laughing, like it was like the best movie on the planet, you know?
Well, at least it wasn't the scene when they, what was it, the Gatorade and the watering?
Brondo.
The Brondo, and he's...
Well, it's got electrolytes, Sean.
Yeah, because it makes the plants grow. It's like, yeah, that's how it works.
Like, at the end of the movie, the guy that's in the main, Luke Wilson, I think it is.
Yeah.
His character his name gets changed to Not Sure, because that's what he's
right. Not sure.
Kind of a joke, but he becomes president, and he's kind of saying like, we can make better movies. Like we should care whose ass that's on that screen.
Like, yeah, you're right.
But it's just funny because like maybe we should just get to that. Just
be real fucking idiots and
make like a 3-hour movie of just some guy's ass. Maybe once in a while he scratches it and.
It would be funny. I'd laugh if that got best motion picture. And who we should add, Matt, since, TikTok is loving life right now, especially with this one girl, Haktua. Haktua should be a part of that too and be like, hey, spit on that thing, I mean, wait, spit on the dude's ass crack? Yeah, just Haktua, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, I think we're
going to Haktua on out of here.
Yeah, because, my God, I mean, I know we have some concerns, man, but really, this Hollywood machine that we talk about, it's fucking ridiculous, man. And I'm not just saying just the TVs and movies. I mean, pretty soon, I guarantee you, it'll be fucking video games and all this other shit down the road. You watch. If movies and TVs are going to go like this, you watch if fucking video games are going to be in the same goddamn category. And I guarantee
I can guarantee you video games are probably already doing it.
And they have. And guess what? Do you think we care? No, because at this point, I'm like, if as long as the story makes sense, great. But if it doesn't make any fucking sense, then why are you doing it? Plain and simple. Just like with movies and TV. It doesn't make any sense. But anyways, we could go down on a tangent, man. But yeah, so if you guys like this, kind of episode in general, we're going to try to, we'll probably start having to do some more of these because I feel like we're going to have some concerns.
Oh,
and, yeah. We're going to keep, trying to keep doing it. But anyways, guys, we appreciate you. We love, the support. We want you guys to, again, click that follow button. Look at some of that merch stuff because I'm telling you, man, we got some good stuff. Just let us know. Hit us up on a message or whatever. But again, until next time,
stay geeky.